All right. So for 2.8, this is, it's called Getting Down to Business. And it says, make modeling decisions about business plans, interpret mathematical models to make business decisions, and determine which type of function grows faster and make arguments about why. So you're going to be able to answer questions like, which type of function increases faster, linear or exponential? And then which model is best for giving a situation, discrete or continuous? And how can mathematical models help to make business decisions? So a mathematical model is like an equation, a graph, a table. And we're going to use all of these models so that we can figure this out. Maybe. Okay, so the very first question, it says Calcurama has a net income of $5 million in 2020, while a small competing company, ComputerFast, had a net income of $2 million. The management of Calcurama develops a business plan for future growth that projects an increase in net income of 0.5 million per year, or $500,000 per year. While the management of ComputerFast develops a plan aimed at increasing its net income by 15% per year. Okay, so then it says create standard mathematical models, tables, graphs, and equations for projected net income over time for both companies. Okay. So, give me 1 second. Okay, so when you're coming up with these mathematical models, tables, graphs, equations, whatever the case might be, you're always going to use the information that they gave you. Okay, you're always going to use the information that they gave you. So the very first thing that I want to create, let's see, oh, here. So the very first thing that we want to do is create information for both of these. So then we can compare both of them. Okay, so what kind of information did they give me about either Calcurama or ComputerFast? Okay, so looking at this, what kind of information did they give me so far? So the management of Calcurama develops a business future plan which projects an increase in net income of $500,000 per year. So that $500,000 per year for Calcurama should tell you what kind of equation that we're going to build for Calcurama. Versus ComputerFast is 15% per year. So for ComputerFast, what kind of equation are we dealing with? And for Calcurama, what kind of equation are we looking at? All right. So let me make this a tad smaller so I can look at that plus my equations. So anybody have any clues on this right here? It says a net increase of $500,000 per year. What does that sound like? Yeah, it's increasing. Both of them are increasing, right? This guy is increasing. How is Calcurama increasing? How is Calcurama increasing versus ComputerFast? Yeah, very good. Someone said it in the chat. One is arithmetic and one is geometric. Exactly. What is Calcurama? Arithmetic or geometric? Very good. Calcurama, this is definitely telling me this is arithmetic. So that means that $500,000 per year. So 0.5 million per year. Oops, I shouldn't draw it like that. Per year. This is your slope. Right? So if that's your slope, oh, then we can write a y equals mx plus b. Very good. Very good. So then if that's my slope, anybody see where my y-intercept is? What's my y-intercept going to be? So Calculama, exactly 5 million right here. So this is my, there you go. So there's my y-intercept. Okay, very good. So we can build that equation. Calculama, you're pretty much done. Yay, right? All right, let's talk about ComputerFest, right? ComputerFest, they gave me the net income was $2 million. So that's basically going to be my A sub 1, right? That's my A. So let's see. I'm just going to go across here and right, that's my A. So that's A, but that's your starting point, right? Does anybody see my growth factor? You guys all said that ComputerFest was geometric. Ooh, very nice. Oh, okay. Don't worry about that. Yes, very good. So someone says, Ms. Johnson, if I take this is my R and it's 1.15. Very good. Now, again, some of you are like, Ms. Johnson, shouldn't it just be 0.15? And the answer is no. Why shouldn't it be 0.15? Because you're adding to that original thing, right? You're adding to that original thing. So there you go. So I'm going to have you guys build these two equations here and here. Calculorama, we basically have it there. ComputerFest, we have it there. Okay. And then I'm not going to graph them here. I'm going to graph them on Desmos. So go ahead and take a pause really quick. Write out those two equations based on that, and we'll be right back together. Okay, so now that we've written our equations, here's all this information, and I know, I apologize. So I'm going to write my equations in here. So Calculorama, that's our arithmetic one. So it's going to be y equals mx plus b. So we go y equals mx plus b. So in this case, it's y equals 2. And are these both at millions? Okay, since these are both at millions, I am not going to put all of the zeros. Okay, so I'm just going to put here in millions. So everybody knows that I'm not going to write all those zeros because I don't want to. Is that okay? All right, so I go, so that's 0.5x plus, and then where was my b? Oh, you guys said 5 was my b. So very good, plus 5. And I just want to make sure everybody is in the same units, because that's another common mistake my students will make. And I want to make sure. So this is about millions and this is about millions. We're good. Very good. So how many of you, say me in the chat, how many of you got this equation, y equals half x plus 5? If not, if you didn't get it, go ahead and write it down. Write it down. Not a big deal. Okay, the next one we're going to write is this one, which again is going to be y equals a times r to the n. And sometimes we write n and sometimes we write n minus 1. But because I'm pretending this is like year 0, then I'm just going to leave it as n. So that's just going to be y equals a1. A1 is 2 million. So that's just 2 times. Where's our R? Oh, our R is 1.15. And then to the X or T, whatever you want to say. So then now they want us to write an equation in a table. I'm just going to graph it. So let me graph a Desmos quick. So then let me write my two equations. So which one right now do you think is going to grow faster? Who do you think is going to grow faster? And this is kind of a trick question, so it's okay to be wrong. So 0.5x plus 5. And the next one, you guys all think ComputerFast? Very good. Let's see if you're right. Just kidding. Dun, dun, dun. Anybody nervous? Just kidding. X. So you guys are right, except for in this window. So let me scoot my window over. So this is in 2020, right? Because that's what they started us off at. They started us off at 2020. So in 2020 and every single year after that, in 2025, right, Calculorama is still winning. And then in 2030, Calculorama is winning. And then something happens and then boom, right? ComputerFast is winning, or Computafest. It's not fast, Computafest. Computafest eventually ends up winning, and winning by a lot, right? So this is very similar to like, just like kind of like going slow to go fast. Remember we talked about slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So this is like one of those things. So there's your equations, there's your graphs. We didn't do a table. If you want, we could do a table. Let's see. No, I'm not going to do a table right now. Sorry, go ahead and make a table based on your equations. You could compare them using other things as well, looking at the domain and the functions and all that other stuff. So it says compare the two companies. And so here you go, right? So, what, how do I say this? Doesn't this company sound like amazing? Oh my gosh, they're earning, their net income is increasing at $500,000 every single year. Yeah. Right. $500,000 per year is really impressive, right? Except for if you take into account $500,000 per year, you're adding something versus multiplying by something. And exactly, someone said this in the chat, the only reason why this one is winning in the beginning, not winning, is earning more in the beginning, is because of they, number one, started out with more, 5 million versus 2 million. But eventually, because multiply, like taking something to a power, I'm going to tell you in the long run is always going to be like more. Okay. So that I only want to go over like one more thing. So if both companies were able to meet their net income growth goals, which company would you choose to invest in? So you guys are looking at this, and which company would you choose to invest in? What do you guys think? Yeah, and this answer actually depends on what your goal is. Does that make sense? So some people say, Computafest, I would always go in Computafest. But if your goal is to save money so you can buy a house in 10 years, would you choose Computafest or would you choose Calcularama? Yeah, very good. Someone says, I don't need money right now, so I'm probably going to go with Computafest. Very good. So if you wanted money like in 10 years, someone says, now, Ms. Johnson, choose Calcularama, right? Because look, they have more money. They earned more. But if this is the long run, like if we're talking, I'll put this away really quick. If we're talking the long run, and we're talking about like 20 years from now or 30 years from now, which is basically what retirement ends up being, 20 or 30 years, then of course you would choose Computafest, right? And I'll tell you right now, because time is the biggest factor, it would always be something like this, right? Let's see. And actually this answer right here for number 3 depends on like your situation, right? Like if you're trying to buy a house within the next 5 years, obviously it would be the red, right? But if it's over, if you're trying to think about early retirement, then it would be the blue, right? Sounds good. Thank you for letting me know, hon. All right. Let me see if we can finish number 4 really quick. It says, when, if ever, would your projection suggest that the two companies have the same net income? Where do they have the same net income? Where do they have the same net income? What should I look at? Yeah, it's somewhere in this little area where they intersect. Yay, someone said it. Where they intersect. I don't know what that is. Is that 11, 12, somewhere between 12 and 13, it looks like. So somewhere here. So I can actually click on it. Desmos is so nice to me, right? I can click on it and it could tell me after 12.292 years, they'll both have 11.146 as their earnings. Millions, right? Very good. Let me just finish this last piece here. Since we're creating models for these companies, we can choose to have discrete model or continuous model. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of both? Here we used a continuous model. Notice we have a continuous model, right? If we were to do a table, it looks more discrete because it looks like segmented, right? Yeah, but you understood where we were looking from, so that's good. And then it says to write the domain of each based on your model. So again, remember that domain means, I'm going to put this up here and please understand, whenever I look at my function, and I'm just looking at function, I'm not pretending about Calculorama or Computafest at all right now. I'm just looking at these graphs. Whenever I'm looking for domain, I look left and I look right, and I look for what numbers are not included. So it looks like they're including every single number. So I'm just going to say all real numbers. But then we bring it back to our context, right? And do negative numbers make sense in this case? Do negative years make sense in this case? And the answer is no. Well, okay, it makes sense in the fact that if I talked about -5, I'm talking about 5 years ago. So it kind of does make sense. But in this, they're projecting, right? They're making projections of their earnings in the future. So we don't want to include any of these negative numbers. So I'm going to say it's all real numbers greater than or equal to 0. Now, if I only want to include at the end of every single year, then I would say something like natural numbers. Okay. So I hope this, like what the purpose of this was for, was so that you guys can all use this graph or your tables or your equations to make a business decision, right? So maybe these are the two companies that you are about to invest in. And this is very likely because as a 21-year-old, I had to figure out which company I wanted to invest in and start my retirement account. And it was really confusing and I chose wrong. And the reason why I chose wrong was because they were making me pay for a lot of fees for a little bit of money. So I want you guys to be informed and use these kinds of things in order to make a decision. Okay, hope that makes sense.